Hello everyone. So now I will show you how to use the Visual Studio in order to start working in C++ to start your first program, and I'll show you the main structure of the program, how to write some statements, identifying the variables, and running your program as well. So let's get started. First, I'll show you how to start the Visual Studio 2019. You can watch the previous video, how to install the Visual Studio 2019, and I will link this here up into the corner of this video. First, after installing and finish everything, now let's start. This is the Visual Studio. You can search for it in your programs and then looking for Visual Studio. After locating the Visual Studio, you can start it right away. Next, I'll start a new project. To start a new project, you can go to the File menu here, then New, then you can start New Project. And here you have multiple options, and I will check this one. I will start with an empty project to start a console project. So click on this one, and we'll start here by clicking on the next button. And this is the first program. I'll start from scratch. If you have no idea about C++, don't worry, I will walk you through all the steps. Click next here, and then select your project name. I will name it Lecture 1. And here, look at this. Here is the location where you can find your project. You can check here to browse, and you can change the direction. This is the default location, and I prefer to keep the default as well. Now create the project, click create. Now we are creating the new project, waiting for the new project to start. Here is the main environment that you will be working on, and this is the Visual Studio. Here is the solution, and these are all the files related to your project. So here we have nothing yet. It's an empty project as we mentioned, and here is the window where your code will be appeared, and here underneath here is the messages that you can receive from the compiler. If there is any errors or any warnings, you can see them here in this window. Now let's get started, and let's start our project here. After creating the project, now we need to add source file. Here you can right click on this folder, source file, and then go to add, and then add item. So here we will select C++ file, which is .cpp. The extension of the file that we are going to do is cpp, C++. So this is for now. This is the name of your source, and you can name it. I will add this extension, source raf for Rafeeq. Now you can tell where it's located, and this is under the folder lecture, the project name, and this is the full path to your project. You can change if you want by browsing your computer and go to the right place. Click add here to add this source one. So here is the file, and here where we will write our code and our C++ statements. So double click. This is the project. It's an empty project, and I'll show you how to write your first program here in C++. First, we will start by some prerequisite statements that we'll need them in the future, and I'll talk about them later on. And one of the statements is the Preprocessor Directive, and this is start by the hashtag include, and so you can see the drop down list. You can click on it, or you can just write it by yourself. Then telling the compiler to include this file in our project. We will need this file in the next few minutes because we are going to use an instruction that is the cout, and the cout requires the using of the IO stream. So the cout will be the statement to print out any output you want into the screen. Next, we will do another required statement, which is using namespace, and here the namespace is the standard one. We will need this as well. Next, we will start by creating the main part. So here I'll start by creating the main piece of your program, and everything will be written inside this main method or main function. So the statement will be starting by int main and these parentheses and then begin and end. So this is a very important piece of your code, and the compiler will look for this main method to start executing your statements. So first here we started by int. This is representing the integer, short of integer. That means this main will return something integer. So don't worry about these details. You will learn about these in the future. So just do what I am doing now, and all of the coming project will have the main method, and you need to start your main. So the main where you will write your actual C++ statements. So if you want to implement any problem, you need to write your instructions, your commands inside the main. So here I am good now. I have the main. This is the main hub, and here is the beginning. These are the curly braces, and here is the begin, and this is, as you can see here, this is the begin, and this is the begin, and this is the end of the main. So from now on, when I say begin, I mean this curly brace, and when I say end, this is the end of the main. So this block will contain the code that you want to implement. One of the main things that you have to know when you start programming is to know the syntax of your language and the keywords. And I am teaching you from time to time some new keywords like the main. The main must be written like this one. You cannot use upper letters, small letters. You have to use exactly the same spelling, the same case, and the same formatting. This is one of the biggest mistakes that the students are doing. They are just writing, let's say, a full word here, integer, or the main with upper letter M, or replacing these parentheses with something else. Now, I'll teach you how to write your first statement, and this statement will be just to print something in the output screen. So the statement or the command that we can use, a C++ instruction that we can use in order to print something to the output screen, cout, and then this insertion operations, exactly the same. Okay guys, do not replace them with anything else. This is required. And next, if you want to print a message, so use the double quotation marks here, double quotation, and here I will say welcome to my class. So after, at the end of each C++ statement, there is a semicolon. This is the semicolon that you need to put at the end of each statement. If you want, you can click on this icon to save everything, or you click on here to save the source. And now we can start running this code, and we'll start seeing the output for the first time. So click on this button here at the top, And here are the messages that you can receive from the compiler. And this is the screen, the output screen. This is the console. And here you can see welcome to my class. Okay guys, so we just finished the cout statement, and this again to print out the message that you want. So enclose the message by the quotation mark, double quotation mark, and remember to use the semicolon after each statement. If you want to add more statements here, if I want to print something else, I will use again in a separate line, or even in this on the same line after the semicolon, I can print welcome to my class C++, and then semicolon as well. What do you think? Where the C++ will be printed? Is it in a new line or attached to the first statement? Pause, write your answer in the comment on YouTube below, and come back again. So let's run the code now and compare it to your answer. Run, and here we'll see. Welcome to my class C++. Why is this? All together in one line, even when we separate them in two lines here. Yes, you wrote two statements here, but you didn't order the compiler or the Visual Studio to move the cursor to a new line. So this is the thing. So whenever you use the cout, it will print it right away where the cursor is. So in order to move it to a new line, you have many options, and one of the options is by adding one more insertion statement here, and then we'll use the end line. This is you are commanding, you are ordering the compiler to print the statement and then to move to the next line. So let's run this again, and we'll see. Run. You will see that welcome to my class in a separate line, and then C++ in the next line. So again, the end L is the command that you can use in order to move the cursor to the next line, and this is how you want it to be. By the way, you can do both statements in the same line. So you can do this. Look at this here. I can do more than one thing to be printed in the same cout command. So cout, and this is the insertion operation, and then you have welcome to the class. This is the message that you want to display, and then there is another insertion operation, and then you have the end line, which will be moving the cursor to the next line, and then here is the other statement or other message that you want to display. So if we run this again, you will see the output here the same as the previous. No need for multiple statements.